Hey, I am Spencer and welcome back to my pandemic garden. This might look like a kind of desperate, slightly half-assed attempt to protect my chickens. What I got going on here is a kind of like a grid of wires over their annex yard. So their main yard in there is like locked down. It's like Fort Knox, but this is like an annex yard that I've been using to get them some fresh grass and whatnot so they can free range a bit. It's desperate and pathetic. I'm using little scraps of a tin can hanging from some electrical wire. There are better ways to lock in your chickens and keep them safe, but there are not freer ways to do it, meaning like totally low budge. The whole point of this pandemic garden is to get by, take care of us, take care of other people, but without buying anything. Minimal trips for supplies. So I think this has a chance to discourage the hawks. We were losing chickens there pretty fast and furious for a while, and I had them locked in, just totally locked down. We haven't lost one in a couple weeks. It's an experiment here at the pandemic garden. That's 7 sparklers from a single can. All right, so just checking in on the chickens. They are chilling in the middle of the day, just totally chilling over there. They have access to the annex, which is on the other side. But you know, right now they're just kicking back, getting a little shade. It's not even a hot day. But this guy has been going really well. They were out all morning, no dead chickens. For us, that's actually pretty remarkable. It is, I don't know, I think it's premature to say, but I think it's working.
All right, you guys want to go check on the chickens? Let's go check on the chickens.
Chickens are this way. So I'm going out to check on the chickens. That crazy POW camp metal screen thing has been in action for 4 days now. I think so. Yeah, 4 days, maybe 5 days. And so far so good. The way I judge that is just that we don't have any dead chickens. And they have been going into the yard and back in their run pretty effectively. I did have to come out the other night after a windstorm and put a couple of these guys back up. They just kind of got loose and fell down, but otherwise it seems like it's working to keep the hawks out. We haven't had any dead birds. I'm just gonna walk around the front of the coop and show you guys a few features of our coop. All right, first of all, the coop itself is a converted playhouse. And I've got a full video about this. If you want to check it out, I'll put a card up here on the screen. It is a playhouse, or I should say it was a playhouse that Melissa and I moved. It was over yonder in the yard, and we moved it over here and shrunk it down and made it into the coop. And they dig it. You know, the thing about chickens I've realized over the years is that they are just happy with all kinds of stuff. You don't have to make things really fancy for them to be psyched. This is the guillotine door that I just put in the other day, and this is the sort of basically the door to happiness for them. That's the way they get into their grass yard. You going through? Are you going through? All right, if you're not going through, I'm going to show them the door. The door is just a simple guillotine setup, no string or anything like that, and it locks in on the top and the bottom, so that keeps it in, and then it's locked in down here just to keep critters and stuff out at night. And my plan with this is to let them range in here until they eat the grass down. If they end up eating the grass down too much, I will just you know, close it off and let it come back. Mainly, I just don't want that grass area to get eaten down as much as this run, because you know, once the grass is dead in the run, it's just sort of like no man's land. All right, a few more features of our coop. One is that the run itself is pretty secure, pretty solid. I've got a construction cloth around the sides, and if you haven't used this stuff before, it's just really rugged. It's like a galvanized mesh on 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch squares, and that is buried in the ground about 6 inches, and then I've got rocks around the edge. That is to keep predators from digging in, and in the last year we haven't had any issues with that. Then I transitioned into a chicken wire up here, which is not nearly as rugged but a lot cheaper. This little gizmo over here is the feeding station, and these are a couple of super cheap feeders that I've got to transition out of. A lot of feed gets wasted with these feeders if you've used them before. PVC tube feeders, I think, waste less, so that's on my list of something to do. This food on the ground will eventually get eaten, but they do a lot of kind of knocking it out of the feeders. Anyway, this guy is just a piece of hog wire, and then I've got an old tarp on here to keep the rain off. This is their grit, and these waterers are really basic. It's just a bucket with holes in it on the bottom, flipped upside down. You can see how to make these online. Really simple. And then there's a guillotine door into the coop, and that's controlled on the outside. All right, inside the coop, this is the human door, and these are vents that I open up in the summer to get more air in here. But this time of year I keep these guys closed. And just really simple. Just some roosting poles over here. They hang out over here at night. And then these are the nesting boxes. A nesting box off the side of the coop right here. On all the coops I've built, I've always put these. This one was a real quickie job, and it works really well. These guys lay on one side or the other. They like this side and they like this side. I think if I put dividers up, they'd probably lay in the middle too, but anyway, that's just like an average yield of eggs for a day. We got 8 eggs, and we've got, I think, about 12 chickens. So usually we get like 8 or 9 or 10 eggs. And if you haven't had chickens before, you might not realize that, you know, sometimes you do get a little turd on your eggs. Not that big a deal, but you can just wash that off. You know, the egg does go down the poop chute on a chicken. They've only got one back door. And I can't remember if I mentioned this before or not, but we were just free-ranging our birds everywhere on the farm, just letting them go. And that was great for them until they started getting killed. So we were losing like a chicken a day there for a while, and we just had to call it. At that point, we just brought all the chickens back into the run, and they've been in the run for about a month now, maybe more. And that's why I built this annex, to get them back on grass, but to keep them safe. Some chickens would jump this fence. I've had chickens before that would totally hop up here and take off, but these guys, for whatever reason, are a lot more docile and are just kind of happy to hang out inside the yard, at least so far. All right, thanks for checking out my chicken setup. I've been raising chickens for on and off about 20 years now, and I just love it. I like the birds, you know, in and of themselves. I just think they're awesome. But you've also got the eggs, which are terrific. If you eat chicken, you can, you know, raise meat birds and slaughter them. That is just an amazing way to fill a freezer full of meat. The other benefits of having chickens, you know, they eat the bugs, they turn over the soil. When I turn them out in the garden, which is right over here, they're like little mini tillers. They will just till it up. And then I've also got compost over there, which is infused with chicken shit. I should say that there are more than one ways to raise chickens. It's like a million ways to do it. And in my experience, from what I've seen, they're all pretty much right. All right, I'll see you in the next video.